happening? My name is Keith Lorren. I'm known all over the world as the King of Spice because I make the best tasting spices in the whole wide world. Something very special for you today. I'm going to show you how to make Keith Lorren's Jamaican style brown stew chicken. Now, you've been to a Jamaican restaurant before. You've probably had curry, you've probably had jerk, but listen, brown stew is where it's at. You pour that gravy over your rice and you got something magnificent. Here's the recipe. I'm going to show you how to do it so you can be the best and so that people can rave over your recipe for years to come. And it all starts out with a seasoning paste. Now in our seasoning paste, we're going to put scallions and ginger and onions. And we're going to make it really nice and smooth so it's like a paste. That's why it's called a seasoning paste. Next, with our types of cooking, it's all in the seasoning. You got to have the right balance. So we're going to add a splash of white vinegar. We're going to add some of Keith Lorren's all-purpose seasoning, very important. I'm known all over the world for my spices. It's the best. You gotta try it. Next, we're gonna add about a tablespoon of the Keith Lorren chicken bouillon, which is gonna add some umami, loads and loads of black pepper, and then we're also going to add a little bit of a Chinese ingredient. This is Chinese oyster sauce. This whole brown stew technique is originally a Chinese technique, and the Jamaicans got with the Chinese people, and hey, they created magic. So we're gonna add a little bit of Chinese oyster sauce. We're gonna add a little bit of soy sauce. And then we're going to add a little bit of Jamaican allspice. This is about a tablespoon. It's really going to exemplify that flavor and add some floral notes to it. Next, we're going to wash our hands, make sure everything is sanitary, and we're going to start that Chinese cooking technique of making that browning caramel. So we're going to add a little bit of oil to our pan. I'm using olive oil and a heaping tablespoon of dark brown sugar. It's so important not to burn this because if you burn it, it's going to be very bitter and it's going to have a disgusting taste. You just want it brown. If you don't trust yourself with this, buy some browning from the store, okay? But I'm showing you how to do it the authentic way. Next, we're going to add our chicken, and we're going to toss it to coat it, and make sure that it's evenly coated. You can see the color starting to develop. It's going to be a beautiful color. I mean, look at that tan that chicken has. That's why it's called brown stew. Next, we're going to balance the flavor by adding a heaping tablespoon of dark brown sugar to this. It's very important in this type of cooking that you have everything balanced. So that's why we're adding the brown sugar to balance the acid with the sweet and the salty. It's going to be all just beautiful when it's done. Next, we're going to add our green seasoning paste, and we're going to toss it together and make sure it's evenly coated. And what's going to happen is the chicken is going to start to develop its own juices. You do not want to add water to this. That's a fallacy. You can't do it, okay? Next, we're going to add a bay leaf. You can see that gravy developing, and now we're going to add 1/4 cup of ketchup. And the ketchup is going to add a tomato component, a really nice flavor, a nice sweet balance, and some depth to that gravy. Then we're going to put the top on it, and we're going to let it cook for about 20 minutes. At the 20-minute mark, it's time to readjust the seasoning. It's very important to season in layers. So you notice I didn't overly season anything. I'm seasoning everything in layers. So we're adding a little bit of the Keith Lorren seasoned sea salt, some black pepper. We're going to add an additional heaping tablespoon of dark brown sugar. We're going to add a little bit of the Keith Lorren all-purpose seasoning, and we're going to add another tablespoon or two of the Keith Lorren chicken bouillon. Listen, when you pour this gravy over your rice, when you bite down into that succulent chicken, your guests are going to go crazy. They're going to say, who in the hell made this dish? It's so amazing. It's so good. And I'm going to teach you how to be the best, okay? So I cut up 3 carrots. We're going to add those 3 carrots to this and let the carrots cook until they're tender. In the meantime, we're going to saute 1 green bell pepper, 1 red bell pepper, 1 plum tomato, and 1 bunch of scallions. We're going to saute it till it's nice and golden brown and flavorful, and then we're going to add it back into our pots. That's the secret to a great brown stew chicken. You can do this. You can be the best at this type of cooking, this ethnic cooking. And look at this dish. It's so succulent. It's so savory. You can just pour that gravy all over your rice and all over those plantains and everything. Your guests are going to love you for it, and they're going to rave over it for days and days and days. I promise you. This recipe and others can be found at keithlorren.com on my Caribbean Soul Cookbook. And you can get my spices at Stop and Shop grocery stores, Amazon.com, and KeithLorren.com. Thank you all so very much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you next week.